If you should visit a place that has a lake in the woods and a beautiful waterfall, then you may also find two little engines called Skarloey and Rheneas. The engines know everybody, and everybody knows them. There are two more engines, Sir Handel and Peter Sam. They used to be called Stuart and Falcon, but they like their new names better. One day, Sir Topham Hatt sent Edward to the works to be mended. Duncan would not stop grumbling. He grumbled that he wasn't polished enough. He grumbled that he was overworked. Most of all, he grumbled about the passengers. "I'm ashamed of you, Duncan," said Skarloey. "Thank goodness Rheneas is coming home soon. Perhaps he'll teach you some sense before it's too late." "What has Rheneas to do with me?" "Rheneas saved our railway," replied Skarloey. "Please tell us about it," said Peter Sam. "Well," began Skarloey, "it was before you came here. Things were bad. Rheneas and I had to keep the trains running, or our railway would have to close." "How awful," murmured Peter Sam. "I tried hard," continued Skarloey, "but my old wheels ached." Rheneas understood. "It's my turn now," he... Skarloey and Rheneas work on the railway that weaves round lakes and the long mountain sides. Their coaches are filled with visitors, and the engines are proud to run the line, come rain or shine. The engines will never let their passengers down, but they are old and they tire more easily. Their drivers understood this, and they spoke kindly to them. "There's more than enough work for both of you on this railway. The manager is sending 2 more engines to help us run the line." Skarloey and Rheneas were pleased with this news and promised to give the new engines a big welcome. When Sir Handel and Peter Sam arrived, they found they had much to learn. "What a small shed," grunted Sir Handel. "This won't do at all. We're much too good for this old shack." Sir Handel had been naughty, so Sir Topham Hatt made him stay in the shed for a while. Peter Sam was now busier than ever. He had to do Sir Handel's work as well as his own. He was very excited, and the firemen found him hard to handle. "Anyone would think that he wanted to work," said Sir Handel, who was lonely and bored. "All respectable engines do," replied Skarloey. "Keep calm, Peter Sam, and you'll do well."
Oh, Jane, what are you doing?
But Peter Sam was in such a state that he couldn't listen.
Jane, what are you doing? You wanted to ruin the view. Sorry, people, it's my dog. She's annoying, okay? She's annoying, okay? She almost fell off the camera. So, sorry, people. It's an accident, okay? It's my dog.
Wanted to go, the slower
there we
the
go.
game became.
Now, Jane, don't ruin this time, okay? Because if you do this again, I swear to God, I'm going to shoot you.
When Peter Sam finally fussed into the station, Henry was already there. Every day where the little engines work, the crisp air is suddenly filled with a familiar noise. The lakes and mountains have many visitors, and Harold the helicopter flies the sky, making sure that no one's in trouble. All present and correct. Time to return to base. Then Harold noticed something.
Sorry, people.
A sturdy diesel was coming round the mountain. Harold flew lower for a closer inspection. "I'm Harold. Who are you?" "I'm Rusty," replied the diesel. "Don't recall seeing you before. What brings you this way?" "Sir Topham Hatt sent me to help the other engines," said Rusty. This was no time for a chat with a helicopter. "Well done. Cheers, and keep up the good work." cheeky chopper,
Sorry, people,
muttered
okay?
Rusty.
I was talking to my dad. Anyways, let's continue the video.
Not long now, encouraged the driver. We'll soon be at the top station. Skarloey, the little engine, loves all the sights and sounds along his line and knows them very well. One morning, soon after he returned from being mended, he was enjoying his journey more than ever before. Along the way, he met Rusty. You know, he said, if I couldn't see these familiar faces and places, I'd think I was on a different railway. You've done wonders with these rails. Rusty laughed. One winter's night when the cold wind blew, the engines found it hard to sleep. What we need, suggested Toby, is to listen to a story. Yes, agreed Percy, a mysterious story. But, added Duck, it must have a happy ending.
There we
Driver
go.
told me a story, said Thomas, so everyone listened. Once upon a time, began Thomas, there were 3 little engines who lived in their own little shed on their own little railway. Their names were Duke, Stuart, and Falcon. Duke was the oldest and was named after His Grace, the Duke of Sodor. It was a beautiful night on the island of Sodor. The day's work was done, and the engines puffed safely home. Thomas, whispered Percy, will you tell us the end of the story? You mean the one about Duke, the lost engine? Exactly, said Henry. But please remind us of the story so far. So Thomas began, and here's the rest of the story he told. Duke was old and lived with 2 young engines called Stuart and Falcon. They teased Duke and called him Grandpuff, but they were happy together. Then their line was closed down, and the young engines went away. Duke was left alone in the shed. He went to sleep, and everything around him changed. But Duke was never forgotten. Years